5 o'clock. We're gonna call this, meeting to order. We do have a quorum, and, this time, going to public comments. We got anything, so, because we're here for, the fiscal year 26 budget workshop, so this is what we're here about. And,
You're up, Brittany.
We get to hear from you once a year.
It could be the Brittany show for the next few meetings. Okay. Try to make this painless for y'all tonight. So, as we're starting fiscal year 26 budget, we are very unsure about sales tax because it's fluctuating a lot. The next couple months will be really telling for us as far as tax rate and which directions we're going. As of now, we're looking to come in probably 2 to 3% under budget from last year. This chart at the end, the orange column, is what we're projecting the actual to be versus what we budgeted. The last 3 months of the fiscal year, 4 months, we just projected the same thing as last year. There's another chart showing you where we've come in so far from the prior year. So if the number's in red, we were under last year's budget amount. As of right now, we're sitting at about a 7% decrease, but we kind of expect that to flip a little bit in the next few months. Anyone have any questions?
Because of history, the next couple of months.
Yes, we recognize why it's down because of the two taxpayers we've been paying attention to. And so we've normalized that trend, and we think that number will go from -7 to -2 or -3 because it was normalized for the last 4 months of last year. So that set the new normal. But it was high in the months you're seeing those decreases. You'll actually, we expect you to see a decrease in June, and then it picked back up in July and August, September.
Okay, pay and personnel this year, the only new positions that we are recommending is Garrett has asked for an additional paramedic and 2 advanced EMTs. He wants to add another crew. Is that correct? Crew? Night shift, yeah. So that's what he would need to fully staff another shift for him.
Please note, this does not affect our tax rate at all. That would be 100% funded with either EMS revenue or funds from ESD. So this wouldn't affect any sort of tax rate. It would just come out of his budget, and he has the funds to do it without asking for an increase from the ESD.
This is just brief tax rate history. Saw the same slide last year, just added in this year's information. We don't have enough information yet to give a tax rate or what we're projecting. We do think we're going to need a tax increase. We're pretty sure of that.
Yeah, it may not be higher than the current rate, but it'll be above the no new revenue rate based solely on the fact that your sales tax is down. I mean, that you have to offset it with that. Again, no raises are included in this budget, and it wouldn't be to pay for his positions. It would be just to maintain the status quo.
Correct. This is the current tax rate. Yes, sir.
Can we go back to the other screen, please?
Sir.
So, what I see now, the highest tax rate was in 2018?
That's correct. That's right before I became city manager, yeah.
Right before.
Right before I became city manager that year.
I appreciate you telling me that. That's great. And I don't know a lot about all of this, but, so it's obvious that we've gone from a .63218 to, and now we're inching up to .46006, and everybody gets really excited about that. How does, what determines whether you come down on the tax rate?
So it's based off of your no new revenue rate, sorry, is based off of your tax values. So essentially, your no new revenue is the same amount of tax revenue brought in off of existing taxable values from the prior year. That doesn't include anything new that was added to the tax roll. That's additional, that'll be figured into it for the next year.
In simple,
Taxes.
Property
in
taxes,
simple
correct.
terms, if your house is worth $150,000 and it goes up to $175,000, your tax rate goes down. So you bring in the same amount you would have at the $150,000.
I'm understanding that now. Good.
Yeah. It's also probably worth pointing out, and I'm not throwing stones, but we're one of the few entities that have to call leaving the rate alone a tax increase. The schools do not have to title it a tax increase in all their literature and in the newspaper and the notices and when they approve it, because they're not increasing the rate. If you were to leave this at 46 cents, it would be a tax increase, and that's how it would be worded, and we would require 5 votes to get it passed. And so you're at a little disadvantage here as you come in. And it is a tax increase, because if your value goes up and you stay at 46 cents, you're bringing more money in for us. So that's where that comes from.
So in 2018, when it was real high, and it started going down, is that because the CAD started going way up on everybody more than normal?
It was a combination of things, but it was largely because of your sales tax receipts.
Okay.
Because we were using the sales tax revenue, and if she jumps back to that side, you can see exactly what we're talking about. The sales tax just started creeping up, and so we use that in lieu of a tax increase. Yep, you see it going up from 18, look at that green line, versus 25, and that's how you get a property decrease. But what goes up must come down, so now that it's coming down, you have to offset that with property taxes, and so that's the position we're in right now.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. A lot of questions that Courtney and I see frequently from customers, they complain that our tax rate is the highest. And I don't think they realize that we're separate from the other entities. So I took everybody, as a visuals help, we've learned. I took every taxing agency that, as a citizen of the city of El Campo, is taxed, and this is the portions that they're taxed. That's the current tax rates that you paid this past year.
And our tax rate's a little higher too, because people like Wharton, their water rates are higher than El Campo's to offset. Is that,
Well, our water rates are, that's utility funds, so that doesn't come into general fund tax, property taxes at all.
Well, he's got a point, though.
Right.
Their water and sewer rates are super high, and their rate is just underneath ours. They're real close to us because they have administrative transfers from their water and sewer fund to their general fund to help offset it, so they don't
but
decrease it.
when we raise the tax, when they look at our tax rate, they gotta consider other things than just the tax rate.
Yeah, the
when
monthly
we're
bill
compared to
matters.
other cities.
Right.
We have not heard from TDS yet. We are expecting another 3% increase. We just estimated 3% in to show, again, the increase that it would be. So residential would go up 81 cents a month.
What's the deadline on that, Renee?
July 1st.
How many more years do they have?
We're gonna be going out to bid,
Next
possibly.
September after this one.
Because there's a local company gonna bid on it this time.
So the next few slides are just broken out, size, residential, commercial, outside city limits, and then the dumpster sizes. And again, I just estimated a 3% increase because that's the most they can go, right? 3%?
Yes.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll
that's what they
forget-
did last year.
Maybe they'll forget again.
Maybe. Have you heard anything at all?
Not received anything yet.
Yeah. So we are proposing increases to water, sewer, and transportation user fees. We do not have the rates projected yet for water and sewer, but we will be bringing that back to you. Again, we're working on increasing that transportation user fee to help offset the streets improvements. So 25 cents again this year, same as last year. Any questions about the transportation user fee? This budget, like we said, is very lean. It's maintaining what we currently have. There's very few things in there for capital. Parks needs a new mower. That's the only thing in there. We need some servers and IT upgrades and transitioning to IT in-house and getting away from,
Well, and just the age. Some of
yeah,
them
and some of them are aged out.
Are 19 years
Yeah.
old.
Kevin has identified the roads that are next year on the seal coating plan, which that transportation user fee also will cover that. Some parking lot repairs at Rotary Legacy and other city facilities. We do know that PD needs some new patrol cars, but we're looking at some other options as far as financing them or trying to get them this fiscal year. to help out before rates go up higher on them. But we do understand that they need units as well. And this is our current debt, and this includes the one that was just issued last month.
This is debt payments or this is total debt?
The total by fiscal year, and then the bottom is total throughout the life. So next year,
Yes. At the bottom,
the bold at the bottom on the right
those
side.
are the payments, yeah.
So the fiscal year,
Payments,
Payments by
Yes.
year, and then the bottom is the amount.
so our debt service is $3 million for 2026.
Yes.
yes, and so 1.5 million is general fund and 1.45 is for the utility fund. I think that's it for me.
We did not include the outside agencies in this presentation because you have contracts with them. And so we will be funding them per the contracts in the proposed budget. We've already included those numbers in there. Unless we hear an objection to that, we're going to keep moving forward with the funding of that. I notice Kelly's here with the Chamber of Commerce, and that's funded through the hotel motel funds. Again, won't affect your tax rate. It will just come out of that particular fund. So we're partnering with the CDC to do a lot of projects that's helping you out where you're not having to issue debt, but it doesn't look like we're doing a lot in the next fiscal year, and that's because this is an operating budget presentation and not a capital. If you were to see the capital, we're doing $35 million in capital projects. Our budget right now is sitting at $28.8 million, so you're doing more in capital projects than you are to operate, and of that $35 million, $22 million is paid with grants. So you're doing pretty good there. The rest is already funded with debt issuances. So a lot is happening. We'll be focusing on public safety next year and making sure that Garrett can run those ambulances. And right now, no raises because we don't have the funds for it. And at this point, if you're asking for a tax increase, we weren't going to ask for a raise on top of that. So that's why you see that looking that way. But we are open for feedback.
We don't have an idea how much the tax increase yet.
Not yet, because we don't have the tax rate yet, the tax receipts
Values.
back for June and July, and that will clear the picture. But then we don't have the values either, so she doesn't know yet.
We'll have those for the end of July.
I think the reason we put this on here was if there was something you wanted to see in the budget that we didn't include, tell us, or if there's something we have in there that you don't want, tell us, and we'll revise it so that we get it right when we hand it out to you in July.
It's a lot easier to hand you a proposed budget that is something you're happy with, that we don't have to change, because it gets really confusing and messy. It's easy to get misinterpreted and confused.
You said PD needs some new cars. Can we fund those out of fund balance?
Yes, that's what we will be proposing.
Do we have enough in fund balance to do a couple of cars?
We do.
Good.
We should bring that back. Yeah. But that's all we have. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll bring you the numbers and then we'll bring it back.
Well,
Shannon walked in, so we're gonna close it. We're toast our secrets already.
Not much to talk about, Shannon.
yeah. Well, council, y'all okay with this presentation here? No. See anything different? We've got a lot of department heads here, and we appreciate everything y'all are doing, and everything that y'all sacrifice to make it work. So anyways, I think it's a good presentation. I think all of us are agreeable with it, so.
Okay, we'll move forward. Give you back 45 minutes of your time.
All right, thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
At this time, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Shannon, sorry.
Thank you.